How is Leo Labada, Brendan, the word out of Israel? He's maybe picked up a problem in training whilst on international duty. It might be a serious one. How is he?
Yeah, he's gone to London today for a scan, but we think it's going to be around about 3 to 4 months. He picked up at the end of training in a shooting exercise. So yeah, it's a real shame for us because he's done well over pre-season, and as you can see, he started in a lot of the games since I've been here. So we're really disappointed, but it's a squad game for us, so we will have other players to come in.
What has he actually done? What's he?
His thigh. Yeah, it was shooting at the end of training, and looks like he's done his thigh muscle.
It's an area of the pitch you're pretty well stocked, but disappointing for the boy, given it looked like he would play a prominent role this year, and he's again started 3 of the 4 games so far.
Yeah, signed a new deal and seemed happy, and of course I was looking forward to continue his development because he still has obviously lots of areas that he can improve on. But yeah, it's a shame. It's a learning for him, and he'll work hard and hopefully get back, and then we'll use him for the second part of the season.
Any other casualties after the break?
No, not from international. I just think some of the guys that obviously been out for a little longer term. Obviously Rio Hatate will be back, which is great news for us. He's trained, and just with some of these guys now, it's just about when to put them in, because some of them haven't played for a period of time. It's just finding the right game and the right moments and the right amount of game time so that they're not overloaded. So, but great to have him back. Like we say, Marco Tellio's been back now training, but has missed all of pre-season, so we're just waiting for the right moments of game for him. So Cameron Carter-Vickers is doing very well, hopefully on schedule to be back beginning of October. Mike Naroki is obviously a little bit longer. Kobayashi back now training and as well. So yeah, it's just starting to get players back now, which is good.
Can I just ask you about Mike? Obviously, he was left out of the Champions League, so perhaps understandable given the problem. What were you weighing up with the other selections? Obviously, Alexander Hernabai's not been included. Liam Scales now presumably is your cover on that side. What was the decision-making process?
It was exactly that. Obviously, you're looking at a number of things. Obviously, you're having, you have 8 associated and home trained players to be in the squad, which leaves you 17. So you're then having to strategically look at it and of the players that's going to come in and the players you need cover, and obviously then you're weighing up injuries as well, how long they're going to be out for, and obviously the likes of Mike will be out for a period of time. So those are the type of things that you're looking at whenever you're picking the squad.
Never known a period, Brendan, when you've had so much bad luck with injuries.
Yeah, it happens. It's just unfortunate, but I'd rather have it now. I think that, when we went into our game against Rangers, and I think it was well documented about players that were missing and everything else, but really the glue that keeps us together always is our togetherness and personality and organisation, and when we have that, whoever represents Celtic will hopefully have those qualities, and that's what we look for in our team. So it's just unfortunate. It's we just have to deal with it, and that's the reason why you have a good squad.
That togetherness obviously in full show at Ibrox for the win. Just what was that bounce like these last 2 weeks? How's the reaction been from the players who've stayed behind and worked in training? What did that result do for this place?
Yeah, I just think there's certain games I think that are learning and games that offer you big moments as a squad. And you think for a lot of these players, they haven't worked with me before, so they've not don't know me so well as such, even though we've been together a few months now, but sometimes it takes that big moment. I remember being here the first time and losing to Red Imps, and the first game was a learning game, and then we were able to go on and had a fantastic season. I said before that I thought St Johnstone was a game that crystallised some of the issues that we needed to have, and I just needed to give even more clarity on how we're going to work and be clear on lots of things, and hopefully we can now go forward. And then we've seen that in the game against Rangers. The guys were so brave. As any player, Ibrox is a tough place to go and play, but as a Celtic player, the hostility, everything that surrounds the game. But I thought our game plan was great on the day in terms of keeping the crowd quiet, especially early on. So we played our football in the first half that allowed us to dominate the ball and have good chances in the game. And then second half, like you play against any team, especially away from home, you have to show resilience, and the players were absolutely superb in that aspect. So overall, a real galvanising performance and result for us, and of course it makes the supporters happy, which is what it's about.
Just looking at the weekend, you have a few selections to look at, like Palma. Is he ready to go straight in? We spoke to Nat Phillips, who was obviously eager to get going as well. Those are sort of selection headaches you're looking forward to ahead of them?
Yeah, not so much headaches, just things to consider. Lewis Palmer won't be back till tomorrow, so we have to have a wee look at that. It's a long way he's travelled, but there's lots of games for us that the players will be involved in. They just have to make sure they're ready. That's the key, and I think you've seen that. With the players so far, we've had players missing, like you say, but we've won 3 games and drew 1 game, and 2 of those games have been away in real tough venues for us. So the players are shown that they're training well, they're working hard, and when they're asked, they know they need to be ready, and that'll be the case going forward.
Champions League almost upon us, Brendan. Are you set for that?
Yeah, well, looking forward to it. It's obviously an elite competition with the best teams in Europe, so it's a great challenge, both from a player perspective and a coaching perspective. So it's always exciting.
What are you expecting from it?
In
terms of
the
6 games, what you looking
yeah, well, listen, we our aim is to make sure we're as competitive as we possibly can be. This game's all about levels, and we're going up a few notches in terms of levels. You're competing against the best teams in Europe, so that's a challenge in itself. Things are that bit quicker, that bit faster. Players technically very strong, mentally strong, and like I say, it's a real test for you. But that's what we want. That's why the players have worked so hard last season to win the league. They know then they can qualify straight into this competition, and it's the best competition to be in. So no doubt challenges along the way and difficulties, but we do everything we can to overcome them.
Like the way Liam Scales stepped up at Ibrox, does Liel Abada's injury, is that now a challenge to the players in that position to step up the way Liam did in that position and put in a performance to really challenge you and your thoughts going forward?
Yeah, it's just obviously we get players coming into the squad that are new, and it's unfortunate when someone does miss out with injury, but it provides the opportunity for someone else. So whoever that is and whenever that is, it's an opportunity that you want the player to take. So without forcing it, it's a great chance for them to come in and play and perform.
I know you'd said on one of your interviews on transfer deadline day that you maybe expected a few more to be announced. That didn't quite transpire in the hours after that. Were there deals that maybe didn't get over the line that you expected to, or that were close?
We'll talk about that in January. We spent enough time talking about that over the summer, so I don't need to speak about that now.
Okay.
Can I also ask, we spoke to Callum and Liam after the game at Ibrox, and they mentioned they sensed that, even from the players who were new, that they begin to understood what it meant, what it felt like to go to a big place, and that could be the springboard. Have you felt that yourself within these 2 weeks as well, that there is that more maybe understanding from those new players of just what it takes to play at a club like Celtic?
Yeah, it's not until you're here, the level of expectation and that sort of mental fortitude that you need to play at a club like this here, and it's not unique because obviously big clubs have that, but certainly up here there's an extra dimension to that. So that expectation, that pressure, you certainly understand that in your time here as a player, and the players will learn that. They know that they're at a club where the challenge is not just to win, but win in a style, and that's what the symbolises the club over many years. So, but that's the beauty of having young players that are hungry, that want to prove a point, and that will do it without any fear. So yeah, I think that they understand that. They get a really good induction when they come into the club from everyone in terms of what what it entails to be a Celtic player. And obviously a lot of them do the homework anyway before they join. They understand what's required.
Just a word on Dundee as well. I mean, it'll be a tricky tie at home, almost like St Johnstone in that sense that you may not get the space you maybe want if they're sitting in. What's your thoughts on that match?
Yeah, no, it's up to us to find the solutions to that. Like I say, in the St Johnstone game, which we could have scored 4 or 5 goals but didn't. The keeper had a great day and we just did put away our chances. So listen, I expect Tony's team to be well organised. I've seen their games and they've been unfortunate as well in some of those, but not to have got better results. But no, it'll be a tough game for us. But that's what you expect. You have to focus really on yourselves, do your work, and work well, and hopefully we can get the 3 points.
But I can ask you about Harry Maguire, a player, of course, you managed previously before he went to Manchester United. What have you made of the focus that's been on him of late?
Well, I know Harry well, having worked with him, and I find it a real shame, if I'm honest. He's a good guy, but he's obviously a top-class player, and the focus and the noise and that's been around him, sadly, probably has been created more by his own club supporters, and that's spilled out into other supporters. I was at the game the other night, and this is a guy, if you remember, and I think it was the last World Cup. He was in the team of the World Cup, so he's not that bad a player. And I know, having working with him, if you needed someone by your side when it's tough, you'd want him beside you. He's a great man. He's very honest to the game. I know why Gareth picks him. He's been fantastic for England. Real soldier and a real leader in amongst the young players that's coming through there. And I find it a real shame that a player who is a very good player, and who at the time when he went into Manchester United probably was needing leading himself, being a new player, but he found himself very quickly to be the Manchester United captain. But I can't speak highly enough of him. He's a fantastic man. I see the noise and that goes around him, which is a real shame. It's just sad that where it was created from. But he's tough. He's mentally strong, and he'll prove throughout the rest of his career that he's a very, very good player. And like I say, you don't go from being in a team of the World Cup and being recognised as a top international player to people making fun of you. And that's something that, of course, you have to deal with as a player, and sometimes a manager as well. But you'll get through it.
What does it say about him, the fact that he's willing to stay and fight at Manchester United, wants to prove people he is that player that you've just spoken about, when he could have easily have left in the summer? He decided to stay. I'm going to stay and stick it out, even though that's where, as you mentioned, the criticism emanated from originally. Yeah,
well, it tells you everything about his mentality. I think it tells you everything about the depth of strength that he has. There may come a point whenever he decides that, listen, he's not getting the game time that he wants, and he wants to move on and play regular. And if he does that, then he'll prove to be a very good player. But he won't shirk the challenge, that's for sure. He's a guy that he's very proud to represent Man United. When he went there, I know that the summer that he left, when I was at Leicester City, there was other clubs that were wanting to sign him. But that whole pre-season, and I've dealt with lots of players in transfer markets when it's tough and it's hard and they can wobble and this guy never once. He was totally committed to Leicester City, to his teammates, and it was only right in the very towards the end, whenever he moved, that I looked back and I thought his behaviour was absolutely exceptional throughout the whole period. So for me, he'll continue to fight there. His behaviour as a man, his conduct. He's a great fella and a fantastic player. And hopefully he gets the chance to show that at Manchester United. If not, and it's too late for him, he'll go and show it somewhere else.
Just finally, because I don't want to take up too much of your time, is the way in which he's perhaps been ridiculed in certain fields on certain platforms, is that just sort of indicative of the world we live in now and the way things have gone? And it's kind of the sad side to the fact there's all these different social media platforms, all these different avenues for people to comment or pass comment.
Yeah, I think that's like you say, that's the world we're in, and you have to have a resilience about you to succeed at the top level in the game now, with so many opinions. But I'm pretty sure, when I see Harry and the times I've spoke to him when I was down there, he's pretty strong-minded. You have to ignore the noise. I think that's what's important. There's obviously a lot of noise that gets generated in this game, and you have to take yourself away from that. Otherwise, it will become a challenge for you every day. So I think he just gets on with his work. Like I said, he's very honest to the game. He'll travel in every day. He'll do his work. He'll be great around his teammates, and he'll always be there to support. So I hope that he can get that as well. He's certainly getting it, from Gareth, and that's why he brings him in, because he knows how important he is at that international level. Because those really talented players, they don't come through unless they have the experience beside it. For every young player, you need the Harry with experience beside them, and that's what will help those guys' potential come through.